and welcome to Chronic Happenings. This is Bumber, Shoote, and I'm coming to you live with Dank McPuffins.
How's it going, Bumber Shoote?
Doing good, Puff. How you doing?
I'm just hanging in there, man. Just another day.
Oh man, like I said, welcome to Chronic Happenings. This is our first episode, and new studio, new fucking everything, man. You ready to try this thing again? We've done it once before.
Yeah, we tried this out a few years ago. Didn't have the best equipment. Back a little better. Hopefully we can put on a good show for y'all and get some good followers out there.
See what happened, right?
That's
Now I want to explain a little bit of the format to people as we get started here. What we're going to be doing is, while you'll hear our voices, we are going to be throughout the broadcast putting still photography up, kind of zen pictures, things that'll be calm, cool, help you get through the day, that kind of stuff. You'll hear the lovely music in the background. Feel free to meditate or masturbate to our show. We do not care. I mean,
it's radio, man. You just listen to it and do what you want.
It's radio. It's a podcast. And we're mainly going to talk a lot about weed, marijuana, and the cannabis industry. It's something that you've had experience in.
I did a little bit, yeah. About 20 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago. You see, I always tell people my experience is, for 18 years, my parents told me you are not going to drink and you are not going to do drugs, and that all changed one day. You know what they said? They said, you're going to college.
Yep.
Oh, man, all right.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey in the studio.
We will not be having guests, all right? No, what we are doing, folks, here is, like I said, we will be talking. What we want to do is, just bring the news, bring our opinions, bring a little insight into the world out there, and hopefully some interesting discussions. If not, hey, we have been known to partake in the cannabis industry's product, and
it just could just devolve into two stoners just rambling for half an hour. Who knows? We'll see where it goes.
Okay, as we go through this, though, folks, like I said, we will be putting pretty pictures up, and we have some things we want to talk about. We have some interesting facts. We'll look at products, that are coming out on the cannabis industry. And we will be putting these pictures up as well as best we can. Our technical crew's a fucking stoner as well. So we're doing our best here, folks. Just imagine. All right. So some things I wanted to touch base on. The other big reason we're doing this, of course, I hate to say it, we both have faces for radio, so,
Yeah.
He's not a pretty man, I'm not a pretty man, but together we're
pretty damn ugly.
Alright. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it does hurt, but that's okay. We're gonna just work through these things on the air for you folks. The stories we're going to talk about, we want to talk about, of course, cannabis-related stories. We also want to be able to talk about current events, things that we find interesting. I like to, if I see just what I like to call stoner thoughts, I try to pick them up throughout the weeks, and, I'd like to bring them up, so you get some just feedback from you, Mr. Puff, I was thinking, I think I told you this one. This was the one that's blown my mind recently. I talked about, people are wrong in their perception of things, especially when they say stuff. They always say, like, things are on fire. And that's just not true. Fire is on things, If things were on fire, fire goes out. So next time.
Unless it's fuel.
Well, even if there's no oxygen, man, if you kill that, things are not on fire. Fire is on things. Fire burn. Fire good. We shouldn't have fired up before we started this. This is going to be fun. Jokes, any jokes that you hear through the week, man, please hold on to them. We will. They don't have to be good jokes. They don't even have to be shitty jokes. Just any jokes, man. Don't look at me like that.
No, I'm just. you know what I do for a living.
Yeah.
I deal with the public.
Deal with the public. Hopefully we'll get 1 million subscribers and we can quit our jobs and just do this professionally.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd much rather do that.
Hit that button, folks. It's important.
But like and subscribe. But anyway, yeah, man, it's like people, they're just not jokey anymore, man. Everybody's just in such a damn hurry to get what they want done. They're like,
you're kind of fading out there, man.
Sorry, man. No, I'm just like trying to say, man, it's like people are in such a rush these days, and they don't just take time to crack a joke with you hardly anymore. And or at least in my profession, what I do, they're kind of in a hurry to get what they want done and get out of there. And it's like,
I love telling jokes, man. You got any good ones? You got any ones you just hang on to that
yeah, I got a couple I heard recently, but you're the one that told them to me, so.
Well, that's why we're on the air. Feel free to, share with our listeners.
Well, I didn't want to, take it from you in case it's one you wanted to share, but the one about the cops changing a light bulb.
Hey, go ahead. I like that one.
So, how many cops does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
None. They just beat the shit out of the room for being black.
I like that. Oh, man.
And there go all of our listeners that work at the police department.
Nah, we have some. We accept everybody. Not based on. We have no stereotype. Hey, do you know what a stereotype is? I learned this the other day. Do you know where that term comes from, man?
No, I do not know the origin of stereotype.
This falls in that category of probably shit I probably know. Back at work they used to call me a fountain of useless knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. Fuck. I'm pretty sure that's what it stood for. They're like, there goes that fuck. And I'm like, anyhow, a stereotype actually goes back to the printing press. The original printing press. Whenever we would have to, do one paper at a time, and
right, typesetting and all that stuff.
Typesetting and all that, and what a stereotype was it was a commonly used phrase that would often be repeated over and over and over, often in description of certain things, and those are called stereotypes. That's where the term comes from.
That's pretty interesting.
The French term for it is cliché. Even more interesting, right? So a cliche and a stereotype are the same thing, go back to the same word about a piece of equipment for a printing press.
Very interesting, yes.
Puff! Fucking mind blown right there, brother, I can tell. Alright, yeah, I'm glad I could share that with you. Anyhow, on this, like I said, we'll also be doing some reviews of not only the newest equipment, but we'd also like to preview some, strains that maybe we have found positive, or, even ones that we would say, hey, maybe not so much, Here lately, my friend, have you had anything that you really would recommend? Any new experiences that you would share?
So, yeah, about a month or two ago, I tried this new strain called Fucking Incredible.
Fucking incredible.
It lives up to the name. Yeah, that is some good stuff. Good stuff. But I've not been able to find it again in the last couple of months because apparently it's extremely popular because it's fucking incredible.
Fucking incredible. So out there, if you know where to get some fucking incredible, feel free to hang it on and send it to us. You can just drop us an email at chronichappenings@yahoo.com. Say, fucking incredible. I never check email, man. I'm fucking horrible about that. We'll do our best to get back to you. If not, you remember you're dealing with stoners, okay? Oh, man. Alright, I'm trying to think, man. What is this we are just partaking in today? Can you?
It is.
Gotta find our little. you got two of the same thing, huh?
This is from Seattle Sativa. It's called Green Cindy. It's a pre-roll with a little bit of oil and keef.
Nice.
So it's rolling in at a total THC concentration of about 26.88.
26.88, not bad. As it's kind of soaked to the side there. I take it that's the key.
Yeah, that's the oil and the keef.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, it is a nice little enlightening buzz, you know?
Yeah. I've got the sativa today, so we have a little bit of energy and stuff. They also make one that's an indica. I had one of those a couple nights ago. That's very good. I forget what strain it was exactly, but yeah, it's gives you a pretty good strong buzz. So.
Yeah. You know, you did mention that it was Seattle, so, you know, I guess that gives us away. We are West Coast based. It is nice kind of being in a state that has, where you can actually just go into a store, and as long as you're 21, you can make your own choices. And I mean, you know, probably they can tell by a little bit of accent, we're not originally from Washington, you know.
No, we're a little bit away from here.
A little bit away, you know. I would say I'm from southern Maine, you know. That would be the best way to put it. And you know, what has been your experience coming out here, you know, since they've legalized this? And
well, I mean, when we first got out here, it was just medicinal. They didn't have recreational going on at the time. But it was interesting coming out here from where we were from, where the marijuana laws are very draconian and just
very
ridiculous.
red state. That would be the best way to put it.
Yes. And so coming out here, it was pretty accepted. That was, I don't know, it didn't like blow my mind, but I mean, it was nice to see that people were open-minded about it, willing to have that discussion, realize that, you know, Reefer Madness is not a documentary, it's a fictional film, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nice having that, and then seeing it get to be legalized and seeing the benefits it's done for the state tax-wise. I mean,
yes.
At first, when it first came out, I mean, it was a little bit pricey, but as the market regulated and competition came in, you can get pretty decent prices on stuff now.
Oh my Lord, I am paying less now than I was in college, man. This is,
yeah.
You know, I went into a store the other day and they had a $60 ounce. I was like, oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was, you know, and they were saying it was outdoor flower and it was not trimmed. Like, it was just big stemmy buds, but, you know, it was like 18%. Not bad, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, you know, it's been real interesting. And, you know, I wouldn't mind sharing that. You know, even, as you say, when we came out here, it was only medicinal. You know, the first 2 days we were out here, I had the medicinal card. I mean, you remember all that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we came in, let's say on a Wednesday, and Thursday morning we go return to U-Haul, go change over a driver's license, and then we head to the weed doctor. And it was an experience, man. I tell you what, it was really cool because you walk in there, and you never did this. It was kind of, I don't know if I told you too much about it when it happened. You walked into the place and they had, it was a nurse practitioner. She came up, she's the nicest girl in the world, sweet as could be, came in and said, how you doing? I said, I'm doing good. She said, how can I help you? I said, I want weed. She said, well, that's what most folks come in here for. I said, well, what do we do? She said, where does it hurt? I said, everywhere. She said, that's good enough for me. She wrote me a prescription, gave me a $10 coupon off at the local store. We stopped on the way home, and folks, within 2 days of being in Washington, we were able to get some relief for that agonizing pain I was feeling and called sobriety. And, ever since we've been out this way, it's been, more and more, relaxed in their regulations to a pleasant experience. I mean, when you were medical, you know, and again, this is something I really wish you'd have had a chance to experience. You know, it was kind of nice. You'd walk in and you had a bud tender there, right?
Right.
And they'd open the jars for you, and you could, you know, sniff, and they'd give you tweezers you could touch, and you could look at buds so you knew everything about it. I mean, they let you get real personal with it. And you got to know the people behind the counter. It was kind of nice. And, you know, then, hell, I don't even think they have medicinal anymore, do they?
I don't know. I see some places it lists as both medicinal and recreational, and I think there's still, I don't know. They still do medicinal, but they like keep track of what they sell you for some reason, which is kind of weird. But
I think it was supposed to be a tax deduction or something.
Maybe I don't know, but I didn't keep up with it because it's recreational. So I'm like, that's what I need.
I don't want to keep it medical if I got to register for something. I mean, you know, I know weed makes you paranoid, but yeah, signing up for government shit makes you paranoid too.
Right.
But yeah, like I say, it's been an interesting experience. You know, now, how do you find the experience, man? You know, compare this to when you were buying weed as a kid.
Oh man, I love this so much better. I mean, first of all, you're not worried that somebody's setting you up with somebody that could be out to rob you, you never know what you're gonna get when you buy something.
Oh, you remember when we were buying weed in Belmar, New Jersey?
I was just about to bring that up. Yes.
Lord, man, tell them that story about buying. Tell them that. I'm
so.
Bumber.
This was a while
Bumber
back.
And Puff. Flowing through New Jersey.
Shoote, he was up at grad school up in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. I was working. I was traveling around. I was in New Jersey at the time. So Shoote comes down for the weekend. We're just rolling around chilling. So we're trying to find whippets. So,
oh my God! I got to tell you, we got to talk about that in a minute too.
So you know, back in the day, have the canister and you get the little tube of nitrous and do that. That's great.
In the 70s figured out, if you suck on the end of a whipped cream fucking canister for like a second, you get this high that lasts like 8 seconds. So fucking useless.
So anyway, since I'm in Jersey, I don't have my canister with me, so no use in buying the cartridges, so trying to find whipped cream. So we're driving around, we stopped at a couple different convenience stores. None of them have whipped cream, so Bumber Shoote over there.
Because they don't sell it in New Jersey in fucking canisters because people were doing whippets.
Exactly. So we're like, alright, well by this time we were hungry, so I had Bumber Shoote run through one of the drive-thrus. Yeah, I think it was Taco Bell.
We went through the Taco Bell and fucking around. And
so we place the order, we get up to the window, Bumber Shoote's paying for it. The guy said something to him, and Bumber Shoote's just like, hey man, you know where we can get some weed? And the guy's like, I got a nickel sack right here.
Yeah, he did, too.
So I didn't have a 5 on me, but I had a 10, so I hand that to Bumber Shoote. He hands it to the guy.
Nickels.
He says, I don't have change. I'm like, well, give me 2 nickels.
Hell yeah.
Duh. So anyway, we got that. Anyway, it was shit weed. It wasn't worth a damn.
No, but it was funny because then we rode across to the Wendy's and I asked for a magic mushroom burger and he gave me the weirdest fucking look. I think he called his manager.
But anyway, and then the next night we went back because even though it was crappy weed, it was better than no weed.
Hell yeah.
So we went back and he told us that he was out, but he told us to go over to this other corner of
Alabama Avenue
Merrimack.
And Merrimack. And if you don't know what the Merrimack is, the Merrimack was a southern submarine.
So it's kind of unusual to find the intersection of Alabama and Merrimack in New Jersey.
Yeah, know something bad's about to happen.
So we get there and it's not one of the better parts of town. And so we're looking for this guy, and he comes over, and he thinks we're undercover cops, and...
Yeah, that's all it took for us to get the fuck out.
Yeah, we're like, never mind, we're good, we'll see you later. So anyway, we got out of there.
Thank God for alcohol, right? There was a bar
now, that was probably my worst experience buying weed previously. So now I want to buy weed.
Yeah.
I got a weed store like 6 blocks from my house. I just go over there, show them my license, walk in. They've got a menu. I have choice in what I'm getting. I can see the strength of what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I can decide how much I want to buy. Maybe I want to get me half an ounce and have it for, however long it takes me to get through that. Maybe I just want a pre-roll. Hey, you know what's cool? I don't even have to just get weed. I can get an edible. I can get a drink that has the THC in it, which I got one of those one time, and that was really strong. But it was good. Except it tasted like weed, so that was kind of funky to drink.
I got one the other day that was an orange soda. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they'll get you up, man.
Yeah, shit, and it tasted like orange soda, man. It was really good.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I like it, and I mean, the prices are reasonable. I know most of what I pay for weed recreationally goes to taxes, because they tax it from the grower to the distributor, from the distributor to the shop, and then from the shop to the consumer. So it's taxed like 3 times over. But it's still cheaper than what I was getting previously.
Yeah,
and better quality.
It's nice, and
it's not full of
good customer
It's not
service.
full of seeds.
I don't know. I wish it was. I wish we could grow. That would be.
Well.
But we'll get there. That's on the
But that brings up another thing.
All right, what's that?
We're in Washington, so we have what we can do here. Our neighbors to the south, Oregon, they also have recreational marijuana.
They do.
But their rules are a lot different than the ones here in Washington.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
In Washington, you can't buy seeds, but in Oregon, you can buy up to 100 seeds at a time.
Really?
However, in Washington, you can go in and you can buy like a bag full of medible candies that has like 10 candies at 10 milligrams of THC apiece.
Yeah.
In Oregon, you can only buy them one piece at a time. You can't buy multiple pieces at one stop for recreational.
That's weird.
Yeah.
One piece at a time. Huh?
Yeah, because when I was down in Seaside with my wife last year, we were like, let's grab a couple of medibles.
Yeah.
So I went in to get them, and they're like, you can only buy one. So I had to buy mine, then I had to send her in to buy hers.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was weird. So.
Well, yes, that is weird.
And then I've also been to Colorado since they've had recreational. My wife and I were driving through, spent a couple of nights there in Denver.
Yeah.
We went and we got some of Snoop Dogg's products, because he's got some there in Colorado, and he had these little gummies that were shaped like footballs. So we're sitting there and we take like one gummy each, and we're waiting for it to kick in. Nothing happens. We got a nice little jacuzzi in the hotel room, so we're both in there. It's been like an hour since we took the gummies. Nothing happened, so we went and took another one each.
All right.
And then about 5 minutes after that, the first one started kicking in, and they were strong.
They were good shit, huh?
And then the second one's kicked in, and whew, that was quite a memorable night in Denver.
Well, good. That's always a good thing, though.
Yeah.
Even with, the shit being stronger and everything, being more available, I find, you don't really have that bad, you don't have bad trips anymore.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the bad trips had to do with the paranoia of getting caught,
Right, exactly.
And it caused people to get in trouble, and shit happened, and, I think as a country, we just don't need that anymore,
Yeah.
Time to get rid of that bullshit. Time to get rid of people like Jefferson Beauregard Sessions.
The third.
The fucking drug czar that keeps coming after weed. What do you think of all that fucking shit going on up there, man?
Man, well, you can't say all that shit going on up there, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there that I can get on a soapbox on, but we'll just narrow it down just to the weed.
Let's just narrow it down to weed. With the fact that he continually comes after, it goes back and, anything Obama did, they just try to fuck it up.
Right.
They decreased the regulations on weed. Now it's just fucking gotta do it harder. Yeah. And then we're in an opiate crisis. And there's, multiple research that shows, weed, people that smoke weed are able to get off of opiates. There was one of the things I was reading about in, this week's Normal. I get news of the week.
Right.
And, it was talking about, they're showing that, people that are heroin addicted or opiate addicted, painkiller addicted, they're able to smoke weed, and it's a step down, it's a huge step down. I mean, that's, how about we touch on
It's a gateway drug?
It's a gateway.
Out of the shitty drugs?
It's amazing.
That gate door swings both ways?
Yeah, that's damn true. But then they don't even want to acknowledge it. They don't want to talk about it. I give you a good example. This is one thing I noticed, and I didn't really hear a lot about. I saw it on the Daily Show, but it was with Trump. Last month he switched to August. He came out and he said, the opiate issue is a national emergency. All right. And in October, he comes out and says the opiate crisis is a national public health emergency. Now, the difference between the two is the National Emergency Fund has a budget of like $23 billion.
Right.
All right. The National Public Health Emergency Fund was currently funded at $56,000.
Right.
What the fuck are you going to do with that? That's ridiculous. And he said, we're going to come out with a Just Say No campaign again. Yeah,
that worked great. Yeah,
that worked great. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a kid when that rolled around the first time.
I'm telling you, man, that fucking, maybe you want to sit down and smoke weed. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Although, you know what, I tell you this joke that I do like telling people, especially young people. It gets a point across to them. And it was related to the old, Just Say No commercials. You remember the one that was, this is your brain and this is your brain on drugs?
Right.
All right, the joke is this, says, Friday in court, these two young kids are up in front of the judge, and, the judge wants to be lenient on them, so he tells them, says, you know what, if you go out this weekend and you do some good and you convert some people from a life of crime and come back and tell me about it on Monday, then I'll let you go. And they both agree, and come Monday they both come back in, and the judge asked the first one, says, well, how did you do? And he said, well, I converted 8 people, and I think I did a good job. And the judge said, you converted 8, what'd you do? And he said, well, I said, well, this is your brain. And, I'm sorry, I took a diagram and I drew a circle, and I said, this is your brain. And then I drew a smaller circle and I said, well, this is your brain on drugs. And the judge said, well, okay, he converted 8, I'm happy with that. And he looked at the other boy and said, how'd you do? He said, I converted 157 people. And the judge said, my God, son, what did you do? He said, I took that same diagram with the 2 circles, but I flipped it around. And I said, this is your asshole, and this is your asshole in prison.
Yeah.
So out there, folks, remember, drugs are still illegal, so don't be good if you can't be good. Be careful if you can't be careful. Be quick so you don't get caught.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's another issue with marijuana being illegal at the federal level is mandatory minimums.
Good, yes.
And I mean, the U.S. has like the highest prison population per capita in the world, I believe it is.
We have a higher prison population than China, and they outnumber us 10 to 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and a lot of that is mandatory minimums from marijuana offenses,
and not even getting into the racial statistics.
Right.
Black people are 5 times more likely to be arrested for,
Right.
A lot of it's just harassment, and yeah, we lock people up. I agree. Please go on.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, I mean, with this high prison population, you've got costs that are associated with that. I mean, I've never done other drugs, so I can't really say I've had the effects of those, so I don't really know how I feel about mandatory minimums for those that are stronger drugs. But just for marijuana in and of itself, living in a state that has recreational marijuana, I have not noticed an increase in crime.
Well, here, let me ask you this.
And that sort of thing, so...
Wouldn't you expand, as you're saying, not just for marijuana, but for any substance use? Any substance use, there should be no criminal penalty for that, for the substance use in and of itself. Now, as soon as you do something illegal, whether you're on substances or not, you should be, you're responsible for that activity.
Right.
So if somebody's...
mere possession on its own should not warrant it.
Yeah, if somebody's sitting in their basement and getting high watching fucking cartoons, do you care if they're using heroin?
Not particularly. I mean, as long as they don't get in their car and hit me and kill me.
Exactly. As long as they don't get behind the wheel of a car, as long as they're not out doing stupid stuff. If they're able to manage their behavior, okay. If they want to stop this behavior, we should offer them ways out of it. But
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and then we always end up with the idea of, and I believe it was Paul Ryan, not Paul Ryan, who Rand Paul. Who's Rand Paul's daddy?
Ron?
Ron Paul, yeah. I remember when he was running a couple years ago, he made a comment about this. He said, why do we have this stuff illegal? How many people in this room, he asked a group of reporters, if we said heroin is legal today, would just jump up and be like, I got to get me some heroin, Because the people that are like, I've got to get me some heroin, they don't fucking care if it's illegal or not. They're going to go get heroin,
Well, yeah. Well, look at the companies that decriminalize usage.
Okay.
I mean, there's been a lot that have decriminalized drug usage for, like, more than just marijuana. And it's, like, led to the establishment of, like, safe places where they can go, do their drug of choice, enjoy their high. Then when they're okay to go, they go. Mm-hmm. So they're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, I mean...
and if something happens, there's somebody there that can get them the medical attention they need.
Yeah.
I mean, there's... Yeah. Portugal, wasn't that one of the countries that did it?
Well, one of the big ones around here was Vancouver, BC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the statistics were, at the height of their opiate crisis, they were finding one dead body on the street per day.
Right.
They started doing the safe injection sites, and I mean, it significantly decreased. I mean, they're not finding these ODs.
So how about we get rid of these mandatory minimums for marijuana, and the money that saves from going to these prisons for housing all these people, how about we funnel that towards the opioid crisis? Open up safety centers that are there.
Well, but again, ultimately it comes down to, private prisons are a big business. The prison system itself is a huge business, and we have to acknowledge this, that...
It is a big business, but, it's not the government's job to keep them in business.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't disagree with that point. Now, I ain't gonna say that don't happen, though.
Oh no, it happens, because the prisons have lobbyists, and they're there.
Oh yeah, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Pharmaceuticals, multi-billion-dollar industry. Like I say again, this is why we're not just cutting off opiates from people. Sure, they help with pain, and here's something you got to realize about it. Drugs. Why do people use drugs or alcohol? Because it does whatever the fuck they want it to do.
Right.
If you smoked a joint and it gave you explosive diarrhea and didn't get you high, you probably wouldn't do that again, would you?
I don't know. I like explosive diarrhea.
Well, there you go, folks. feel bad for your wife at times. I imagine her at times just standing at the laundry going, my God, son, did you hit a deer? What the fuck happened here? Anyhow, some things like people go, drugs take people to, a place they're comfortable with, not a place they're uncomfortable with. It's just a matter of replacing that feeling of comfort with something else, I was watching a show the other day. I think it was Brain Games or something. But it was talking about, where addiction is and that sense of immediate gratification, which is what, most addiction is. It's a sense of,
right.
They were saying basically, when you go to a casino, the ultimate high isn't when you go to get your money from the cashier. The ultimate high is when you hit the pot and the bells ring and all this goes off, But realistically, the more rewarding thing is getting your money from the cashier. That is a very primitive part of who we are. It goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Whereas, the idea of being able to sit down and just say, don't do that, or let's talk about it, that's a very new part of the brain. That communication of just being able to sit down and pray on it or anything like that is not going to trump that need for gratification.
Right. No, that's interesting.
Poof, mind blown.
Well, no, I mean it's not mind blowing, but I mean it's very interesting. But I just never thought of it that way. But yeah, I mean it's hard to change thousands of years of human evolution in like a month. Just being like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, it's not. I mean that's why there's a 70% relapse rate. Is because it's not an effective system, If you were to go get a vasectomy and, they miss 70% of the time, would you continue to go back?
No. If that were the miss rate, I wouldn't go in the first place.
Yeah. And, that's something people need to consider. Is, you give me that look of...
Well, no, I mean, you're talking about, like, go to get a vasectomy and they goof it up, like, 70% of the time. I'm like, condoms suck, but I'd rather wear one of those than not have my balls at all or whatever.
Castration. Not talking castration, man. I don't know.
Whatever.
Don't get on the vasectomy thing. That's not important here.
Yeah. No, I get you. But
marijuana affects conversational ability. Here we go, folks.
Hey, you're the one that brought it up, man.
I was talking about me.
You don't even know what you were talking about now.
Where was I? I have no idea, man. We were talking about, rehab, man. Relapse. Yeah 70% relapse rate. And, like I say, again, if you... When you talk about, like, AA or NA or any of those, one of the things that they really do push is total abstinence. But what if, like these studies are saying, marijuana allows people to successfully come off of opiates? Is that an acceptable alternative?
Sorry.
Poof. Mind blown.
No, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the background music for a moment. But anyway, no. So, I'm sorry, rephrase that. So, if marijuana use can get people off of opioid usage, would that be acceptable? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. If
to me, that is 1,000,000% acceptable.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I was thinking there's a program in the Netherlands where, they were having problems with the homeless people, that slept in the square getting drunk and harassing tourists, and they were drinking this cheap whiskey. Well, the Netherlands started to just pay them to do sweeping and all that, and then they would give them beer to, kind of keep them from going through DTs and, keep them, but yeah, they'd pay them with 3 beers a day, and then, give them a broom and just sweep wherever they were. And the idea was if they're not drinking this cheap whiskey and harassing tourists, it's more productive to go to something that's not as harmful and do something productive.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, man, even though when you smoke weed, you know, you can get a little distracted at times or have your, oh, look, a squirrel moment, like I did just a moment ago with the music. So, it happens, but you can still be productive on weed. Now, I've not done any other hard drugs. However, one time I did have to have some wisdom teeth cut out, and the oral surgeon gave me some Valium to take before I came in for my surgery.
Yeah.
So I took that about like an hour before my surgery was scheduled.
Yeah.
That is some good shit. I'm not going to lie.
God.
That is some amazing shit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to get a damn thing done that day if I hadn't had, you know, if I'd just been on, I'd have just sat there and just been happy for however long that stuff stays in place.
And that's what it feels like, man. It just makes you happy, dog.
Yeah, man. It's just like bliss, man. It's like, oh, wait. No. Let me roll back a second. I said I hadn't had any other hard drugs. When I had my kidney stone, they gave me morphine.
Oh my God! Yes,
and I can see how that would be addictive because that stuff, they put it in my IV. They weren't even done finishing injecting it in when I felt the numbing hit, and then it was just.
And I've had that. That happened to me with the kidney stones, and God, it was so painful, and it went to just utter relief.
Yes. I can understand how heroin would be extremely addicting.
Sure. But you're not going to get shit done.
Or not heroin, morphine. Morphine, I'm sorry. It's a derivative.
Version,
yeah, exactly. I mean, they're all opioids,
but yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and what people have to understand is, again, that immediate gratification. You know, you know, if you don't have a long-term goal, it is hard to overcome, you know.
Right.
But if you got an idea of a sense of accomplishment, shit, man, you know, that really can balance out, you know. But again, you have to fucking change. You can't just talk about it. You have to put your hands on it and change it. That's what I've always found with shit, you know.
Right.
Oh no, our music's over.
Well, that was quick.
We have completed segment 1. Let's take a break and we'll come back. All right, folks.
Yeah. Let's. We're gonna go refresh and get pumped up for session 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bumber, Shoote, and I hate to say it, folks, but we're wrapping it up here on our first episode of Chronic Happenings. I hope you'll join us next time when me and Mr. Dank McPuffins go over some of the more interesting parts of the weed world. In the meantime, hit like and subscribe. Check out our playlist, and please leave comments on the bottom, folks. We will talk to you later. All right, keep on puffing.